Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Big League Breakdowns. Today, we are going to be discussing the recent injury news to Mike Trout and what that means for the Angels superstar and the Angels going forward. Today, we have a little bit of a new cast.
Yeah.
Myself and John here, and now we get to see Robert Morrison's face in the flesh on the three panel as we talk about some Mike Trout, native of close to where we grow up. So, always a little bit of
Whoa, whoa,
um
whoa, whoa! Exclude. I'm not. I am not from the armpit of America, known as Jersey.
oh, that
Yes,
is
for me
messed
and
up.
Ty,
That
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 is
is
messed
messed
up.
up. But we just got news that Mike Trout is going to miss the rest of the season after having a setback with his torn meniscus. I think originally when he tore it back in at the start of the season, they had looked at a 4 to 6 week recovery. This ended up being 11 weeks for him to get into a rehab game, and in that game, felt discomfort, and now is they found another tear, so he will be out again. And I mean, this is a guy who has just been absolutely plagued by injuries the last 4 years. Um, like looking at the stats of it, in the last 4 years, he's played 266 games, which is only 41% of the Angels' games in that last 4 years. So, I mean, John, what does this mean for Trout, who obviously is a shoo-in to be a Hall of Famer, but this is a guy like re- literally realistically had a chance to be maybe the GOAT, called the GOAT, and he's just been derailed by injuries the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said before. Trout is going to turn 33 in what, a week, 2
Yeah,
weeks.
August 7th. Yep.
So he's on the other side of 30. He's being plagued by injuries. You know, I don't know if it's the Angels organization that is doing this to him. I don't know if it's the style of play that he is putting himself through, but in a way, this almost reminds me of Ken Griffey Jr. with the Reds. You just can't stay on the field, and the old adage is the best ability is availability. Excuse me,
Yeah.
and you know guy who was the face of baseball for so many years. Uh, it's got to be frustrating for him more than anybody because of the amount of heart that everyone knows he has and the amount of love he has for the game. But you know, it this just sucks. You know,
Yeah, and I mean, you're really looking at like the scope of his career in recent memory. He has the MVP in 2019. 2020 is a shortened season because of COVID, and then you have the last 4 years where he's just been battling injuries. And as you said, I mean, he's 33 years old now. He still does have, I believe, 6 years left on that contract. He's getting paid $35 million a year in that time, until 2030. So, I do imagine he's going to try to come back and be healthy and play again. But yeah, it's just a lot of missed time. I mean, kind of breaking it down, he's averaging 67 games a season in the last 4 years.
well,
Not great. So,
he has he has no other choice but to try and come back.
yeah.
It's either that or retire. He's 33, and
Well,
with having injury riddled seasons, is anybody going to want to trade for him?
I think it's more of like, you know, especially in other sports, maybe over baseball, but knee injuries are always one of those things that they can be very severe and, have lasting effects. Like, not on the same level in the slightest, but I have torn my meniscus twice, and like that was years ago, and I still have, like, you get one of the things with it is you basically get arthritis in that knee, and you're just in pain. You get that chronic pain, so he's gonna have this for the rest of his basically career. And at what point do you say, okay, enough is enough? I
On
think,
top of the back issues he's already having.
yeah, the back issues, and you kind of look at just, hey, he could come back and be a prominent figure, obviously moving forward and get back to his ways, but it just looks tough. I mean, Bobby, what do you make of the whole situation with Trout? Obviously, as John said, one of the faces of baseball for so long, but now it's just having a hard time staying on the field.
It sucks for any athlete to go through stuff like this. I mean, this is certainly not the first story nor the last story that we hear of players just getting completely plagued by injuries. And for someone like Trout, it really, really sucks. I mean, we're talking about one of the highest paid players in baseball, right? I mean, what was the deal? It was 12,400, and
Yeah.
he's seen. So I know we talked about like how much on average, but I mean, you go on Sports Reference, you just look at the numbers. Games played starting from 2020 at 53. I know COVID's involved with that one, of course. 36 in 2021, 119 in 2022, 82, and then 29 for this year. This guy just can't catch a break. And the worst part about it is, despite all that, his career average is still sitting at about 299. Like, this guy, every time he actually is on the field, makes a difference for a franchise that, let's be honest, is not really helping him. And I'm not saying that in regards to his injuries, but I mean, this is not a winning team. It hasn't been a winning team. I mean, this franchise is, and probably some of the worst morale it's been since they lost Ohtani in this past season. And now their other star can't be on the field. I got to imagine some ticket sales are going to be a little bit of an issue going forward as Mike Trout continues to just be more hurt. And I wonder what happens to the Angels after Mike Trout. If he chooses to retire because of his injuries, I fear for that franchise. No, he's not going to retire.
Not this season, at least. I
not this season, but
3 more years.
Yeah, I would say like 3 more years, maybe a couple more years. But like you wonder after this setback, especially with your meniscus, Tyler, you talked about yours and how much it set you back, even for someone who's not as athletic as Mike Trout is.
You could say
you gotta
that.
Imagine. yeah, I could say that, right? But
wait, you mean you're not a pro baseball player? You don't make
or one of the best players in the world?
You don't play center field for the LA Angels? What?
No, I don't.
What kind of a podcast is this?
You don't slug a 581 on a career? That's crazy. That's crazy of you. And I just feel bad for this guy. I mean, I'm back on playing MLB The Show, which I know is a cardinal sin saying on this podcast. Dude, that Mike Trout card is still ridiculous. Do you know how much fun it is to just send 450 with that card? Like, do you know how fun it is? I don't know what it is. It's just with Trout.
He has that swing, man.
I know. He just does. That's the thing. And I always talk about how I went and saw him at in Camden Yards when I was still going to school in Maryland. And brother, I remember him sending one towards us. I mean, we're up in like the 300 level, so like it wasn't anywhere close to us, but holy, you heard that throughout the ballpark, man. He's just someone that was just fun to watch play whenever I've seen him live.
I mean, that was for other reasons on top of just being Trout, but whatever. Anyway.
Yeah,
bad years. Anyway, point is that, this sucks all around. Mike Trout, he has the opportunity to go down, or had the opportunity to go down as one of the greatest to ever do it. Went to a horrible organization, one that has never given him the opportunity to excel in the postseason, will never. And, the Angels themselves are just a dumpster fire. They did nothing at the deadline. They didn't sell anyone. They just put another guy on the IL is Anthony Rendon, who they paid all this money to for friggin' no reason. It was a dumb idea. They let Ohtani walk in the offseason. They can't catch a break. They are, as an organization, the Angels, I believe, are either cursed or are run by morons or both. Just something. Because they're relying on they like to think that, we won the World Series 2002, we're good, and unfortunately Mike Trout's career was squandered. And just think about if he was in another organization, if he was in New York, Boston, Philly, I don't know, even with the White Sox, probably would have had so much success. And would probably at least have 2 rings. Well, I mean, hey, listen, they were a contender a couple years ago.
And
not
now,
this year, but
yeah, they're scraping the bottom barrel. Look, I think it's tough, and you really look at it as, Mike Trout for a long time, I think, was the poster boy for the MLB, and I think there is a time when that torch gets passed. Usually it's when
I
a
think
player
that torch
ages.
was passed a long time ago.
Oh, well,
Ty.
that's what I'm getting to, right? Like he's 32. He's going to turn 33. I know he's getting to that point where he'll be over the hill per se. Um, but this is a guy that still should be in his close to his prime years, and now like you really look at the stars of baseball, right? Like I don't think he's really like in the conversation because he's not been on the field. Not anything about his talent, but it's just like Otani's there, Judge, Soto, like all these guys that are playing and stuff like that, and it just sucks because like Trout, we obviously know how talented he is, and it feels like his injuries are just marring him from you know still being that go-to guy, or somebody that everybody's talking about. It's just, it sucks, man. It's like it almost feels like he's going down as you know I won't say not like just another player, but it's just like, it's as you said, it's like Griffey with the Reds. It's just another star that can't stay on the field, and I'm really interested to see how his next couple years go because, like we said, knee injuries are very tough to come back from. Back injuries are very tough to come from. Like, it's stuff that kind of
He's got
stays
both.
with you. Yeah, right. And it's stuff that stays with you and kind of always is in pain, even after you've recovered per se or gotten surgery. So, yeah, I mean, it just sucks. And
You'll
I guess going back to the Angels real quick, like, we know that they've done a lot of wrong, right? Like they let Otani walk. They've had like the worst farm system every year for forever. They've missed their window with Mike Trout. Like, there's a lot of things they've done wrong, but eh, yeah, I just feel like for them, this is also just, as Bobby said, like, butts. People want to see Mike Trout when he's not on the field. That takes butts out of seats, and I feel like for them, they're really probably feeling this. Like, do they have a thought of trading him? I don't think so, but I mean, what do they do with him? Because you got a guy who's going to be 33 that you're paying a boatload of money to. That I'm sure. Obviously, he makes a lot of money, and there's some risk there, but it's Mike Trout at the end of the day. So, like,
Yeah,
is
that's
there
the
any
thing, is
chance
you
he gets
have to pay
moved?
Mike Trout. You can't.
Yeah, but he's got to give the whole
Who-
farm system for Mike Trout.
Who's gonna want Mike Trout? He's not.
I think
He's not in his 20s.
a
Okay,
team
yeah,
will
probably,
a
but
team
they
will
don't
pay
need him. They have Judge.
Yeah.
If Mike Trout actually hit the market because of the Angels, somebody will pay for him, and it's going to be one of the most ridiculous trade sheets you'll ever read in your life.
It'll probably be the Dodgers.
You're right. Hit the market. Hit the free agent market. Yeah, but hit
No,
the
no,
trade
no. But like,
market,
I'm saying like, okay, so here's the thing, and hear me out on this one. Is it smart for them to? Do you almost have to at this point? Because I mean, here's the thing. Because the Angels, I feel like, are nowhere near ready, right?
No.
So to make a
nowhere
run
near
for
ready. They're not even on the off ramp to get into the
That's
stadium
true,
to get
right?
ready, buddy.
So the thought would be, well, Mike Trout is still Mike Trout, and he's not, as Tyler was kind of talking about earlier, he's not over the hill yet. Every time he comes back, he's still a bit of a difference maker. I almost feel like you have to, and I feel like somebody would definitely pay him.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I feel like someone would take that deal. So I feel like if you're the Angels front office, it has to at least be a consideration, right? Because it may seem crazy, but I mean, imagine the arm and leg that you can get for him that could start a full-on rebuild for them, which I feel like if for the Angels is kind of what you need now. Like, that's where you're at.
Here's the issue: is that the Angels don't know how to do that. I don't think their
No,
organization
they probably
is
don't.
smart
I
enough
mean,
to know how to do that.
I feel
And
like
the
their
thing with
window is
trades-
closed with that.
Well, the
Like-
thing with trades is it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
You're not going to get premier farm system pieces, like say like the Orioles, for example, who have a plethora that could trade for Mike Trout and be like, okay, we're fine, whatever. Well, we'll have to eat the contract, and that sucks, but still. But like that's my point is you're not going to get the buck, you're not going to get the return that you could have gotten all those
Oh
years
yeah,
ago, and especially
yeah.
with this knee injury, especially with this back injury that is going to shorten his career. Mike
Mhm.
Trout, unfortunately, like Mickey Mantle, is going to go down as one of the biggest what ifs in baseball.
I
I guess
think
so. I'm looking at it though, like where for the front office though, what's better now though? Is it better to just cut your losses and get what you can, or just be the Mike Trout retirement tour as he finishes whatever he has left in the tank coming out from this injury? Is I guess
I
the
think
thought.
for the smart thing for them is yeah, they should cut their losses. The problem with it, what I'm kind of alluding to, or what John alluded to, was that window. They had talked for so long. Is Trout going to Philly? Are they trading Trout? Blah blah blah. This and that. They did the same thing with Otani. Like, for them to not get anything for Otani is absolutely absurd. We're talking about
Yep.
Here's my
somebody
whole
who
thing:
is the best
not
player in
just
baseball, not even close.
not just that team, those teams didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
You had
Mhm.
the best two players on your organization, or in your organization's history, outside of Nolan Ryan, and in the history of modern baseball. And when I say modern baseball, I'm talking about like in the 2000s, in
Yeah.
the 20s, the 10s, whatever. For close to 2 decades, you didn't even sniff the playoffs
That's the
with
thing
them.
about it, though. Like, if they had those two guys and they can't start the playoffs, like, at, again, this probably should have already happened, but you gotta rebuild. Like, you can't, because not only are you wasting his career, but you're also, that the formula hasn't worked, and it's just kind of one of those things where I have to move on. I just think that the window's closed. Like, will there be teams interested in him? Absolutely. He's Mike Trout. However, paying that contract and getting full value, or getting value that the Angels feel like they should be getting back for him, would be very tough.
It'd
Um,
be a retain. It'd be a retained deal. Like it would have to be probably at least a 50 retained deal. Probably, I would imagine, if they were ever
The
going
Angels
to do
aren't
it.
gonna. They're not gonna
yeah,
want to
They're
do
gonna,
that
but they
though.
have. To, they're gonna have to. But they're gonna have to. Is I guess where
We
I'm
can say
standing
they're gonna
now.
have
Is
to
they're
all
gonna
they
have
want,
to.
but they're not going to.
No, they're not going to. But in the spirit of, like, let's be true analysts about it. Like, yeah, like that was what it would have to be. And I guess I'm going to disagree a little bit. I don't think the window's fully closed for Mike Trout getting out, because he's still 33.
oh,
Like,
I
I
don't
know
think
the
the
injuries
window's
are.
closed for that. I'm saying I think the window's closed for them to get the full
Oh,
package
well,
of,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, no, no. Don't expect to get everything, but it's going to be better than just kind of letting him go and then finish. What are they right now? What is their current record right now? I know it was
Below
1681
500.
or something like that. Or
Yeah, I
no,
mean
I'm
that.
way
Probably
off.
gonna finish with like 60 games.
47 and 61. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, they've actually stayed in it longer than I thought they would this year. But you lose your star
Everyone
player
has.
again. Um, Anthony Rendon has been a failed experiment. You don't really have a lot going on. Taylor Ward's
That's an
there.
understatement.
God, they
Uh,
can't win.
Renhefo's there, but I mean, there's not much, and I just feel like at some point you got to kind of cut ties. But yeah, I mean, in the end, obviously, just terrible for baseball, because you want to see kind of what I talked about before, about he's kind of fallen out of that, like, poster child thing. Like, you haven't been able to really see him in the last 4 years play to his potential. So I almost feel like people forgot about how good he is, and you can't put him in that conversation of the Otanis, the Judges, the Sotos. But, like, obviously, when Mike Trout's at his best, he's one of, if not the best baseball player in the world. So
Oh, it's not even
it,
close.
yeah, it's. I really hope for his sake that he has now until February to recover, to build up strength again and get back into shape. And I'm hoping that next year he comes back and he kills it. I really do.
Yeah.
I just have worries about, again, it's injuries to two parts of the body that are very, very finicky and they are hard to come back from. And
really hard to rehab. Take it from me. I can actually relate to the back issue stuff. It sucks, dude. It freaking sucks. And you're never as strong anymore. And for a sport that requires so much rotation from your back muscles,
Well, I think,
like everything you have to do, the quick movements, like you just never feel the same.
Well, I don't even think this is just a regular back injury. I think that what he's going through is a chronic illness and disease that is just eating away at his back. So you have to deal with that on top. And then you have the knee injuries. Knees are always going to be finicky. You make one tweak and you're going to be hurt for 3 weeks, especially in baseball when you have to move laterally to get around the bases, or like you have to make turns in that sense. To get around the bases, so there's that. Plus, he plays center field, which is probably the most demanding cardio position, in the on the field.
Yeah,
God, he's so good at center field, but you almost need to make him a DH. I think just to last the season.
Oh, I think
I feel like you might need to make him a DH to help him last another 6 years.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely move into a DH role. I don't think there's actually any question with that. No, I think he will.
I don't. Mike Trout does not strike me as the person that is going to, at this point, be like, "Yep, I'm fine being a DH." Let me.
Yeah, he also wants to play,
not
field.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's gonna get told "Hey, listen, we got this."
Tell Mike Trout that you were riding the pine.
No, he's not riding. He's not riding the pine. Dude, you know how frustrated he is? Like, I remember when he first got the meniscus injury, he was literally about to be in tears. Like, the guy just wants to play. If something's going to keep him on the field longer, he's going to do it. And not for nothing, his defensive stats have gone down a lot in the last few years. So he's not like the defensive center fielder he was anyway. So
his bat has always been the primary thing paying the contract. His defense was great, especially when he signed, but it's been his bat. It's been his bat over the past few years, for sure.
But I think
this is one where I wish Will was here because he would have just torn you to shreds.
I'm not wrong though. I don't know how you can even statistically argue with that.
I would say he's the best fielder on the field.
I'm not saying he wasn't, but at this point, he's not going to be the more he keeps hurting himself. And at the end of the day, if being a DH is going to cause him less issues and won't make him as injury prone as he currently is, I feel like he'd take it.
Oh, yeah.
At 34, I don't think that you're going to be able to convince. I don't think any manager. You could bring.
I also don't think a front office wants a 34-year-old center fielder who has knee problems.
Bro, look at Cut.
Why wouldn't they?
Cut. He's a DH now, and he's loving life.
Dude, you get paid $400 million to just go up there and bat.
He goes up there.
You don't have to worry about making it put to play.
He's having fun in the clubhouse.
Hold on. That's another thing. Am I going to be paying? If I'm a front office, do I want my $300 million player to just bat?
That's what Ohtani's doing. That's what Ohtani's doing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Ohtani was signed for both being able to both pitch and hit. First of all,
yeah.
I feel like he would only lose $50 million out of that contract. That bat is too good to not pay that price. Are you serious? At the end of the day, I feel like Mike Trout's offense was much better as defense, but his defense was that good to still consider him that good of an all-around ball player. But his bat is doing most of the talking. It absolutely is.
I think. Do they want to make their DH that paid, or the highest paid player? No, but I don't think they have a choice. It's either you put him at DH and get his bat for the year, or you put him at center field and have the chance to lose him again. And I'm telling you, I really think from Trout's standpoint, he's gonna want to at some point move into that role anyway because he is getting up there, and again, the injuries are piling up. So I wouldn't be surprised. No, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not next year, or if God forbid he gets injured again next year because he is playing the field. That would be it. But I think overall we'll wrap it up there. But definitely Mike Trout, He's good for baseball, and when he's on the field, that's when baseball is best. So we wish him a speedy recovery, and can't wait to see him next season. If you are interested in following us on our socials, we are on Twitter at BL_breakdowns and everything else at Big League Breakdowns. Make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. If you did enjoy the video, give us a thumbs up, all that good stuff. And we appreciate you guys. We will see you next time.
Wear your seatbelt.